Iron Skillet Sports presents...
You know what it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television, and we are back. Listen, fellas, we've got to talk about Kyrie Irving versus the NBA. The NBA has said they're coming back. We're coming back strong, but Kyrie says, no, wait a minute, not so fast. I'm not coming out there because something smells fishy to me. Jay Sizzle, is there a tainted fish in the water?
Well, okay. All kidding aside on this one, Kyrie has a really good point right here. We understand that we're looking for a distraction, that the government's looking for a distraction, that business is looking for a distraction. And one thing, once we get sports back up and running, they will start taking headlines away from the movement that's been going on right now. So the issue is that Kyrie said, I'm willing to give up everything I have for social reform. This is a guy who's a multi-millionaire saying that. I don't think he's going to give up all his multiple millions. I think that was just an off-the-cuff statement. But what about the other guys out here right now who are not in his position in the NBA, who are going to get checks that are not coming to them? They already got checks bouncing. They're got to give up the Bugatti. The baby mama's mama is having a problem right now because her T-Mobile is cut off, not because they had a problem, just because the bill didn't get paid. Look, there's a lot of situations going on right here. I understand what Kyrie Irving is saying, but on another standpoint, you're looking at this situation where you have a group of gentlemen who need to get paid, and if they don't play, a vast majority of these guys are going to be in a real problem. So, yeah, it's interesting that he would say that, but I wonder just how much he's willing to give up.
Let me throw it to you, Rich Sizzle. When you talk about social justice and Kyrie Irving, is he willing to give it all away? Is he willing to risk it all for social justice for the NBA, the WNBA, and for the greater world and society abroad?
Well, like I said earlier, I was joking about it, but the man thinks the world is flat. I mean, I think he probably would go ahead and do that. And I apologize for something that we talked about in a couple of episodes before. I kind of downplayed it when they were talking about black coaches in the NFL. This goes right along the line of what Kyrie Irving is talking about, is that we've used sports and minorities as a stepping tool. And Kyrie understands that no matter how much money he makes, he will not be touching anywhere where the people above him are making. And it's on his shoulders to do this. It's on his shoulders to take care of the family and the squad and everything else like that. There will never be a line that brings that anywhere closer. So I understand and really give him kudos for pointing that out. This is a great time to bring up that platform. I don't, like you said, there are other people not in his position that are making way less than the $20-30 million a year that he's making that need that money in order for him and his family to survive. So at the end, I don't know what's going to win out, but I really applaud his efforts, though.
Yeah, there's something that you have to say about a man who has convictions to follow through with his word. But let me ask you this, Jay Sizzle. In a league where there are 8 black head coaches out of 30 NBA teams, which is about 75% of the league, is comprised of black players. Management and ownership makes up less than 5%. Does Kyrie Irving have a point that needs to be discussed on a larger topic on what's going on socially and politically, not only in the NBA, but in the general topic of the world abroad?
Yeah, he definitely does have a position. The question is, where's the money coming from for all these NBA teams? What is the percentage of that money that's African American? I'm not going to throw out a percentage, but I bet you it's very, very small. The question is that you have a bunch of corporate entities that put together a league, and this league became very profitable in about 40 years' time. We remember in the 1970s and 1975, at halftime, a lot of these games, if the teams weren't winning, you could just walk in to a basketball arena. We knew that was just like that was with the Bulls. Now all these teams now are worth nearly $1 billion across the board. The question is now is that all these players out here that are calling for societal change, they're all getting a paycheck from the entity that they want to change. And so this is the problem. Are we looking at that we're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg? This is a real situation going on right now. At some point in time, if the league right now, we believe that it's become our right to have the NBA on our television screens on December 25th. But what happens if all of a sudden it's not profitable for them to do so? Then what happens to the league? And then what happens to all these players out here, all these millionaires who believe that they have a right to have this money? So I could clearly understand what's going on, but we got to look at this. The only reason why these leagues are popular because they have been expanded on by big corporate entities, and they've been able to sell advertisements, especially the TV rights. They've been able to sell that out here and made it a mainstream must-have in most people's homes throughout the winter months. If that shuts down, then we're going to look at a lot of these guys that might not be getting paychecks, and we'll look at now it's going to be D-League basketball. I mean, that's not going to exist. Now it might be just the NCAA. So it's very interesting right now. We're at a real tipping point about what's going to happen. You might have some guys who think they're going to remain millionaires, and all of a sudden that money might stop flowing in.
Well, since we're talking about money, Rich Sizzle, one of the things that is in the conversation with Kyrie and his position is that Kyrie seems to be diametrically opposed to LeBron James, wherein LeBron James has said, hey, my people, we're coming back. We're going to do what we got to do. We're going to go back to work. Is this an issue now between Kyrie Irving and his position versus it, or is this seriously now a social issue and health issue that has to be addressed?
Flip a coin on which side you want to pick. I mean, LeBron James is chasing his legacy. More championships he puts on his resume, the better his legacy looks. So, and that's the only thing he's looking at. That's fine. I applaud a man who can understand what he wants out of life. Kyrie Irving, like it's on the other side of that, his team has no shot. I don't even think his team is playing in Orlando.
Absolutely.
But here's the other thing that Kyrie has pointed out. Outside of Gordon Hayward, your white players are not like American white. You know, they're
True.
they're from over in Europe somewhere. So what you're in jeopardy of is turning basketball into kind of a pseudo minstrel show, because that's all you're seeing is black people on TV running up and down the court, entertaining other people that like you just said, Jay, that are not like him, because outside of Jay-Z or Beyonce, no one can afford a $3,000 ticket to go watch one game.
Right.
So these are some serious social issues that, in my opinion, should be addressed beyond just what LeBron's intentions are winning a title. I would love to see him have his shot, but there's some other things. Since the iron is hot, no pun intended, with the iron skillet, let's talk about it and let's get down to business with it.
All right, so let's get down to the business of it. Jay, can this issue be resolved without there being some resolution to the number of black head coaches and black general managers, and even moving into black ownership for the NBA for this to be resolved?
Well, it's the same situation in the NBA as with the NFL. They have the Rooney Rule in place there, where you have to bring coaches in. You have to have them in and talk. The whole issue is, until we can take the moniker of black coaches off and just call coaches, and the best coach who has the best system, that's who's going to be hired. Until we get to that point, then no, I don't think the situation is going to resolve itself. I think as long as the fires are burning right now with what's going on with the social awareness going on in America right now, you're going to see some teams move because they're trying to calm down the issue of race in the United States. So they're trying to make sure their fan base knows that we're on the right side. We're standing with you guys. But as soon as this flame dies down and it just becomes a smoldering ember, just like all the other type of situations that happen, this will too go that route. You're also going to see that the old boy network is still going to be engaged. If this is a league of nepotism, you need to know somebody to get hired and not necessarily the best person is going to get the job. And if you don't know somebody to get in the door, you're not going to even be considered getting the job. And that's why you see a lot of players playing basketball, but not a lot of coaches being black coaching those players. And I think that's just what you're going to see. I think it's going to continue to be that way for a while.
Let me ask you this, Rich, is this a possibility? Is this a Boondocks moment wherein the players could say, we are not coming back to the court until we see some effective change in management and in ownership? And in fact, you know what? I'll throw it to
give it to Jay, man.
Yeah, I'll throw it to Jay, and then I'll come back to you, Rich, and see what you think.
Look, if we're going to whack the neck of the Golden Goose right now, they can play. You got to remember this now. For most of these owners, these teams are not their primary source of income. These are businessmen. At any point in time, they're going to be in the red and they don't see that there's a way out of it. They will shut things down. Don't think, look, we've had other leagues, the ABA folded. We've had other leagues, the XFL folded. That was $500 million they put in there. The $820 million. If you don't think at any point in time, right now, if you look at Major League Baseball, if you don't think these owners at some point in time, they think this thing's not going to be profitable for them, that they can't make this work on their balance sheets, they will shut it down. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. You have to look at this from another standpoint. These players are consumers right now. They're consumers. They're not building anything. They play for a team. They get a paycheck. They don't own any of it. You know, we can talk about Jay-Z owning a piece of this and Michael Jordan owning a piece of this. These are all in ownership. But the players playing on the court right now, they all get a paycheck from ownership who can afford to pay them. At any point in time, this thing doesn't become profitable, they will shut this thing down. I'm telling you, you're all going to look up that he might not play next year. So tread carefully, young people. Tread carefully. I'm telling you right now, because this is a situation right now that the Golden Goose could be in the pot and they're turning up the fire on it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to throw it to you, Rich. Give you the last words on it. What are your thoughts about what we've just said and what you've heard so far?
I'm at a loss, to be honest with you, because I understand everything that Jay is saying. And part of me is saying that this is the best time to make that stance now that this social issue is so hot, it's so sizzling. But if you overshoot your shot, I mean, there's another LeBron James, there's another Kobe Bryant, there's another Michael Jordan waiting to get in that might be better, that couldn't get in due to politics or not knowing this person or not knowing that person. So if you're not careful and you overshoot your shot, the show still goes on.
You know, it's funny that you said that because we were looking at a situation with LeBron James and some of the older players also, wherein, especially the Lakers team, because they are comprised of a lot of veteran players. If this doesn't get back on track for them, this might be their last opportunity for some of them to make it to the finals or get to a championship. And we don't know. We saw a hurt LeBron James last season, and we just saw really good health from him and really good training. But we don't know, and LeBron James doesn't know what's going to happen moving forward. So this is a very, as you said, Jay, this is a very tedious time, and you have to tread lightly and be very definitive in some of the moves that you're getting ready to make.
Yeah, it's look, let me tell you something. LeBron don't care who he has to play to win this championship. It could be the Little Sisters of the Poor. It could be it could be the people from the Wheelchair Olympics. It don't matter to LeBron at this particular moment. They just had this big conference call over here, and you had a number of Lakers who were involved. And you had Dwight Howard and a few other guys. But guess who went on that call? LeBron James. LeBron James is like, I am ready to play right now because he's 35 years old. His legacy is based in this. That's why he moved to LA. You know why he needs to play right now? Because he knows those Golden State Warriors are reloading. And he understands if he don't get it done this year, he might never get it done again. He's 35 years old. Can LeBron play till he's 40? Of course. Did Michael Jordan play like that? Yeah, of course. We all saw what happened to Michael Jordan in the Wizards uniform. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this situation right now. LeBron wants to play. Plus, you got to think about it, too, the corporate money on the side of that, too. LeBron has to say he wants to play. He can't really do – Kyrie and LeBron are in two different categories where we're talking about the endorsement dollar or the quad, as they said in Jerry Maguire? Yeah, Jerry Maguire and Cuba Gooding Jr. So LeBron and Kyrie Irving are two different animals when it comes to making this money out here outside of basketball. And LeBron has got to side with on the side over there. They're saying on the corporate side, that's what he's doing. LeBron's ready to play. Let's get it going.
Well, that's it. That's what we got to say. LeBron has to get it going, and the other players either have to follow along or find out when the world became round. It's one of the two. Somebody this has to happen, and it has to happen soon. So listen, you know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle right here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. Yo, Jay Sizzle, leave the people with something hot before we walk out the door.
Hey, man, you know what's really good out here that I had the other day, man? I had some Oreo cookies. And it was like some pudding, and it was fantastic, man. It was like Oreo cookie pudding. It's fantastic.
I'm not even gonna. You know why? Because you're gonna have Adrian come looking for you, and I'm not gonna have that food. She's not coming looking for me, so you know I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Rich Sizzle, leave the people with something hot.
Hey, let me tell you something. With all you guys wearing those PPE masks, they do not protect against people farting in the grocery store. You can still smell that.
Again, thank you, Rich Sizzle. We appreciate your wonderfulness. You know who it is. You know what it is. If you're not following us on Instagram, Twitter, if you're not following us on YouTube, shame on you. First of all, you know what to do. Look for us at Iron Skillet Sports. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. You can always find us at the handle _ what you got that hashtag. You can find Skillet_sports. That's where you find us. That's where we are. That's what we do. Our Iron Skillet Sports. We're the talk of the 219. And if you're not listening to us anywhere where you find your podcast, please make sure that you hit that button, you like it, and you get the alerts for when we give you new content. Always got something hot. Always something fire. So you know who it is. For Jay Sizzle, for Rick Sizzle, this is G Sizzle. I'm signing off saying, baby, always keep it fire!